Hello friends. Today I'm going to tell you about the movie Flight 7500. And if you like our videos, you can support us with a like and a subscription. A couple of seconds for you, but it's very important for us. Thanks to everyone, and we are starting. The film begins and we see two flight attendants finishing their flight preparations. Passengers come and take seats. The first people we meet are a couple flying on their honeymoon. The girl is afraid that they will have to sit with people who will interfere with their time. She speaks contemptuously about a man who just eats and hopes that he will not have to sit next to him and similar people. Next we see a married couple again, also flying on vacation with friends, followed by a suspicious solidly dressed man. He puts some kind of case at his feet, to which the stewardess asks him to put it upstairs. It turns out that the couple who is flying with friends are named Brad and Pia. They have already broken up, but they are still flying with friends on vacation without telling them anything. There is tension between them. Meanwhile, an arrogant lady sees a woman with a child walking towards their free seat and hopes that she will not sit with them. Also, a plump man passes by, and now she is already going to use a place nearby for her things, as an informal girl sits there, and on the other side a woman. She asks the girl to move next to her, but she says that she is fine here. Two more are introduced to us. The girl who is talking to her boyfriend via video link, and the guy who is sitting next to her. He turns out to be quite arrogant and immediately starts talking to her and telling her about his plans, but the flight attendant interrupts him and forces him to turn off his tablet. He tells the girl that it's just a bike so that they can be manipulated and nothing needs to be turned off. She snatches the tablet from him and turns it off herself. And finally, the plane is in the sky. The guy pulls out a work phone from a bag full of gadgets and boasts that they are still alive and the phone has not affected it in any way. The girl notices how many smartphones he has, and we find out that he got them illegally. Meanwhile, the fox tells the neighbor about his honeymoon, shows his cool photos and the best ring in the world. The neighbor, after listening enough, decides that anywhere is better, but not next to such a diva. Of course, she tries to show her photos and the girls to her right, but she just doesn't care. The flight goes on as usual and the flight attendants are engaged in their duties, simultaneously discussing all the passengers, when suddenly the plane begins to shake. But everything ends quickly. Everyone is fine, except for the man in the suit. He starts to choke. The flight attendants begin to act quickly and ask if there is a doctor on board. It turns out to be Brad. He runs up and tries to figure out what is happening to him. The man abruptly grabs him and asks him not to let him die on the plane. He abruptly becomes even worse and he stops moving forever. They are trying to bring him back to life, doing heart massage, artificial respiration, and trying to resuscitate him, but all to no avail. The pilots are informed that there are bodies on board, and it was decided to move people from first class and place the body there. Liz tells the informal woman that no matter what she pretends that she is not afraid, to which she receives an answer that death is a part of life. The end is only part of the way. The man is informed and strapped to a chair. Meanwhile, the newly made wife tells her husband that after he performed artificial respiration, she will not touch him. But he decides this issue for her. And while she's gone, the man in the informal finds a common language and he says that she's right about death. The girl sitting next to the mobile phone thief goes to the toilet and does a pregnancy test. But at this time, something strange begins to happen in the cabin. The stewardess drops the coffee and sees how it starts to evaporate. The doctor notices that his nails have turned blue, and the bottle begins to shrink. The plane begins to wobble and bend and sharply dive down. This leads to the fact that the girl in the toilet flies up to the ceiling, and all the other passengers take off from their seats. Oxygen masks fly out, and people start putting them on in a panic. There is a depressurization of the cabin. One of the pilots puts on a mask, and the second, before he has time, loses consciousness. The doctor's girlfriend also begins to lose consciousness because her mask turns out to be non-working. He gives her his own, and he finds another one, but seeing that the child and mother need help, he runs up and helps them, and he takes a new mask and notices that his girlfriend has already lost consciousness. When he reaches her, he gives her air, and she comes to her senses. The girl in the toilet passes out. Abruptly, everything stops and the co-pilot comes to his senses. They informed the passengers that there was a depressurization of the cabin, but they isolated the compartment, and now the pressure has normalized. The stewardess finds a girl with a test in the toilet and puts a mask on her. She comes to her senses. Brad and Pia, in the form of a child saved by him, say that they have always dreamed of the same thing: children and a family. But something didn't work out. Brad offers her a fresh start, but she refuses. Looking through her photos once again, the girl sees a dead man in the monitor, gets scared, but does not attach importance to this. Meanwhile, the thief went upstairs to find something to profit from the rich man. He is not embarrassed that he tore off the Rolexes along with his flesh, and finally he decides to shoot a video with him, but the body doesn't think so. The guy jumps aside and, seeing something, screams in panic. Meanwhile, the pilots are trying to contact the dispatcher, but only interference is heard, and the doctor also sees that man on the TV. The flight attendant notices a Boeing flying through the window almost right next to them, and they notice that the guy with the phones has not appeared for a long time. They start looking for him and see that the man's body is also gone. In the toilet, the girl decides to take a pregnancy test again, but a man gets out of the floor and grabs her legs. The doctor overheard the stewardess telling the passengers that the body disappeared with the guy, as well as what he saw on TV. The daughter-in-law also says that she saw on the laptop. They decide to open his luggage and find a briefcase. They find a doll in the case. The informal woman says that this is not just a doll, it is a doll of death. A person who died suddenly must renounce everything that connects him with life in order to be free. After that, the doll will take him to the afterlife. They understand that this man is holding on to life, and that's why everyone sees him. In the luggage compartment, the stewardess finds the deceased's belongings. She opens the bag and a hand comes out. The girl jerks to the side, but it does not save her. The pilot becomes the next. The second stewardess also sees a hand reaching for her and walks away. Passengers find her and ask if everything is all right, but no, she is not all right. Everyone runs away, but the informal remains and stares intently into a dark corner. She comes out of there herself. She walks up to her copy and hugs. Meanwhile, the others find the pilot and realize that things are bad. They also find a girl in the toilet. Brad walks into the salon and comes back with horror on his face. The others run inside, and he takes his beloved and leads her inside with him. They lead all the passengers and themselves. They are all sitting in the same places, but their hearts are no longer beating. They see what really happened. During the depressurization, all of them could not escape, including the pilot, all staff, and all passengers. And all of them are just spirits clinging to their lives. The TV turns on, and they see how the news reports that their plane has stopped communicating, and a flying Boeing has recorded the absence of life on board. All of them suffocated due to faulty oxygen masks. Their plane is on autopilot, and as soon as it runs out of fuel, it will crash into the Pacific Ocean. Brad and Pia accept their fate, and she asks him not to let her go. At the end, we see that the girl who flew on her honeymoon is still on the plane and cannot accept her fate. But the hands find her, too. This is where the film ends. That's all for today. Put likes and write comments if you want more similar videos.